So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the seminar entitled Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women. Please proceed to the registration. If not, finalize your attendance and settle as when we begin right now. So, before anything else, let's start with our invocation, followed by our national anthem and TIP hymn.
Our Father, who art in heaven, holy be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. You sharpen my mind with knowledge and truth. You fill up my heart with gladness and joy. You lift up my life to heights I've never known. You teach me, guide me, you inspire me. You bring out the best of what I can be. You give me the strength to believe in me. You've given me wings to fly above the rest and lead me on to victory. You are my strength, my hope, my guiding light. You've added values and meaning to my life. Your teachings and caring I'll always remember. My teachers and friends I'll always treasure. I'll cherish the good times we've spent together. TIP, dear TIP, you'll be in my heart forever. You are my strength, my hope, my guiding light. You've values and meaning to my life. Your teachings and caring, I'll always remember. My teachers and friends, I'll always treasure. I'll cherish the good times we spent together. T.I.P. Dear T.I.P. You'll be in my heart forever. T.I.P.
So once again, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the organizers, I am honored to welcome you to our seminar titled Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women. This afternoon, we delve into insightful discussions on gender dynamics, masculinity, and how this shapes our society. To start our event, may I invite Bradley Tangin, our group leader, to open the seminar and let us hear his welcoming remarks.
So, good afternoon, speakers. Good afternoon, participants. I am delighted to welcome you all to our seminar titled Sexy Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women. Today, we gather not only to explore a critical and often contentious topic, but also to challenge societal norms that have long shaped our perception of beauty and femininity. And today, we are privileged to have with us a distinguished panel of speakers who will share their insights and experiences, and I encourage everyone each of you to encourage actively in the discussion. And as we embark on this journey, let us all remember that the male gaze is not just a lens through which women are viewed.
So thank you so much for that insightful talk, Mr. Bradley Tangin. Now to give historical context and theories about masculinity, allow me as your host to introduce it. So one of the well-known theories or concept in masculinity is the hegemonic masculinity, which is introduced by R.W. Connell. So this theory refers to the dominant form of masculinity that society upholds as the ideal. It's often associated with traits like toughness, dominance, and control. While it gives men certain privileges, it also pressures them to conform to rigid roles, suppressing emotions and vulnerability. So another important concept, which is I think you've heard this, so toxic masculinity. So this term refers to the behavior and attitudes that society expects from men, such as aggression, emotional repression, and a constant need to assert dominance. So, as I've said, in the Victorian era, brought a focus on moral uprightness, discipline, and rationality. Masculinity was framed as restrained and noble. So, fast forward to the post World War II, yan. So, we see a return to traditional gender roles where men as providers and women as homemakers. So this didn't last long since the feminist and civil rights movement in the 1960s and 70s challenged these norms, pushing for more equality between genders. So today, we live in a time where masculinity is more fluid and diverse than ever. So movements like Me Too movement or hashtag Me Too movement have sparked important conversations about male accountability and gender equity. So men are increasingly encouraged to express their emotions, challenge stereotypes, and redefine what masculinity means for themselves. So as we dive deeper into this seminar, let's keep in mind that masculinity is not static. It changes with time, culture, and individual experiences. So by understanding its complexities, we can break free from harmful stereotypes and create a more inclusive society. So with that, are you ready? Can I see some type 1? Type 1. everyone sa chat box natin. Kung ready na ba tayo? So before that, let's start with our icebreaker para naman maganahan ng ating participants. So, may I call on the tech team to present the icebreaker? Ayan. So for our icebreaker, we have guess the food with emoji. So I am expecting everyone to participate. So this is just basic. Can you proceed to the next slide, please? So practice round. So the guidelines for this icebreaker is for you to just guess what emoji is being presented in that slide. So let's see for practice round. May we have our practice round, please? So there. So what do you think are those emojis? So you're gonna come up with words, two or more words based from that emojis. Can someone please guess it? So we have from Ryoni. So corn dog nga ba ang sagot? Is it corn dog? Maybe see the answer. Mais dog from Kazuha. Corn puppy. So right, that's corn dog. Okay, are we now ready? Please proceed to our program, to our icebreaker proper, please. So for our first round, so we have, what do you think is that? A green button, an atom, and yeah, that clock that's ringing. What do you think are those? Are that? So we have power up, power alarm. Are you sure? Yes, Janelle? Wala na? So sige, let's see kung ano ang answer natin. Power button. So our answer is onion rings. So nagigets na ba? Okay, let's have our round 2. So 5 rounds lang naman to. Let's have our round 2, please. So we have a fruit and that girl doing something. What do you think is that? So from Janelle, we have banana split. I think that's the correct answer. Can we reveal it? Okay, banana split. For our third round, yan. So we have a body part. You know what that is? And what's that? So we have from Ryoni and Hilario. Their answers are gummy bear. Let's see if it's gummy bear. I think tama naman. Gummy bears. Okay, for our fourth round, there. I think that's very easy. So I think if you've watched Wicked, that's very relevant to cinemas. There. So Ryoni, I think your answer is correct, but short with something. Okay, popcorn. Let's see if it's correct. Si Ryoni lang ba ang nandito? How about the others? Okay, next slide for our final round for our icebreaker. So we have something that's purple and bright. It's it's round. Then we have a dessert. So from Kazuha, magic cookie daw. What do you think is that? May makakahula kaya? Is there someone that will be guessing our fifth and last round? So eto, crystal cookies, fortune cookie. Ayan. So I think I found the answer. Let's see if it's fortune cookie. Yes, it's fortune cookies. Plural. Yes. So thank you very much for participating, everyone. That's it for our icebreaker. Now let's proceed to our speaker. So our next for our first speaker, we have Miss Yvette Cuenca, a scholar in media studies who will discuss the impact of media and pop culture on masculinity. Let's give her a warm round of applause.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I am Bianca Yvette Cuenca. So I will be um, discussing impact of media and pop culture on masculinity that reflects both traditional norms and evolving representations, significantly shaping societal expectations. So I will be discussing the exploration of each point along with real life examples. So for traditional portrayals of masculinity in media, in film and television, historically, male characters were often cast as, as stoic heroes who displayed physical strength and emotional resilience. So, for example, we have James Bond, who is depicted as a suave or fearless spy whose success relies on strength, intellect, and dominance. So, also, Superman embodies a archetype of a flawless savior, while action icons like Rambo and the Terminator focus on physical strength and indifference to emotional vulnerability. So, next we have is in music and sports. So, music and sports often glorify hyper masculinity, presenting men as a symbol of aggression, dominance, and invulnerability. So, example in many rap songs of the 1990s, such as those by Tupac and Eminem, so they emphasize themes of power, aggression, and survival. And athletes like Muhammad Ali and singers like Michael Jordan were celebrated not only for their skill but also for their confidence and dominance in their field. So, next we have the influence on society. So, the media's portrayal of masculinity set rigid societal expectations. So, impact on men, men were pressured to suppress emotions and prioritize strength, success, and control. Expressing vulnerability was stigmatized, leading to struggle with mental health. So, example is many men in professional or personal setting feel compelled to adopt a strong and silent demeanor, often leading to challenges in addressing emotional or psychological distress. So, next is impact on women and other genders. So, these portrayals reinforce, um, balik po sa technical team. Thank you. So, these portrayals reinforce gender roles that often subordinate women and non-binary individuals, perpetuating stereotypes and dependence and inferiority. Example is in advertising back in 1950s when this is an example of a household appliance commercial when men were shown as is Ted Lasso, if you know that. Um, it portrays a kind, empathetic soccer coach who deals with personal insecurities and mental health struggles. So this shows that media now is being inclusive to the emotions of men. So next we have the diverse narratives where media now highlights experiences like fatherhood, mental health, and personal growth. So, if you know this, the movie "Call Me by Your Name," so this movie explores sensitive and emotionally vulnerable portrayals of male relationships, and also the pursuit of happiness. It shows the struggles of a single father striving for success. So, next we have is the persistence of toxic masculinity. So, despite the progress, harmful masculine ideals remain ingrained in some aspects of pop culture. So, for example, is in video games and action movies where aggression, dominance, and violence are still celebrated in certain genres. So, for example, in video games like GTA, they often glorify violence, and male dominance. Similarly, like to action films like John Wick, where they heavily rely on themes of vengeance and physical power. So in reality TV, um, shows like Survivor or The Bachelor, it celebrates competitive, dominant, or aggressive male behavior. So another example is in Love Island, where male contestants are often judged based on their physical attractiveness and dominance. So it perpetuates superficial ideals. So in social media naman, we have platforms like Instagram and TikTok that can amplify gender stereotypes through content promoting traditional alpha male behaviors. So if you know Andrew Tate, so he is an influencer that gained popularity by promoting hypermasculinity and often controversial ideals about masculinity. So all in all, so the real life shifts toward progress. Many public figures challenge toxic masculinity by embracing alternative expressions of manhoods. So another example is actor Terry Crews, who openly discusses vulnerability and his experiences with trauma and breaking away from traditional expectations. Another example is Prince Harry, which advocates for mental health awareness and showing that strength lies in seeking help. So, while traditional portrayals persist, the evolving narratives in pop culture suggest that masculinity is becoming a more inclusive and diverse concept. So, that is all for my topic. Thank you very much, and let us now head to the next speaker. Thank you.
So thank you for that insightful talk, Miss Yvette Cuenca. Now for our third speaker, may I invite Mr. John Kenneth Simbahon, who will talk about the intersectionality and diversity of masculinity. Please welcome him.
Hello, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar. Um, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello. Thumbs up nga po kung audible ako. Thank you po. And thank you for joining this webinar. Today, I'll be discussing intersectionality and diverse experience of masculinity. So, let's define intersectionality. It is a term introduced by Kimberly Crenshaw help us understand how various aspects of identity, like race, class, sexuality, and ability, intersect to create unique experiences in society. So, when applied to masculinity, these frameworks often reveals that manhood isn't a single universal experience. So, instead, how men experience and express masculinity depends on their individuals' social identities and the power dynamics at play. As Kimberly Crenshaw introduced, intersectionality is the idea that our identities such as race, class, and sexuality overlapping, creating unique experiences of privilege and oppression when it comes to women. Gendered expectations are never experienced in isolations. They are deeply shaped by other facets of identity. So our goal for today is to unpack these diverse experiences and explore how factors like races, class, sexuality, and ability shapes masculinity. By the end of these sessions, I'll hope you see how masculinity, far from being monolithic or complex, is multifaceted and influenced by social structures. So, masculinity and intersectionality. To start, let's discuss the concept of masculinity through the lens of intersectionality. So, masculinity is often thought of as a fixed set of traits, dominance, strength, and emotional restraints. but these traits are expressed differently depending on a person's identity. So, for example, consider two men. One is white, heterosexual, and middle class. And while the other one is gay, black man from a working class background. So the first man may align closely with what society deems the ideal masculine figure. So benefiting from privileges of race, sexuality, and class. So meanwhile, the second man navigates a more complex intersection of racial and sexual marginalizations, leading to unique challenges and expression of masculinity. So next, let's take a look at how race shapes masculinity. Let's start with race. So women of different racial backgrounds encounter unique gendered expectation as well as men. So for example, black women often face stereotypes like being the strong black women, which can pressure them to suppress vulnerability. So the first one is the black masculinity. So black men often contend with harmful stereotypes like hypersexuality or aggression. For example, a black man might feel pressure to appear physically strong or emotionally stoic to counter these stereotypes, even at the cost of his emotional well-being. So the second one is the Asian masculinity. In Western cultures, Asian men are frequently stereotyped as passive or less masculine. So for example, an Asian man may overemphasize academic or professional achievements as a way of asserting his masculinity. And the third one is Latino masculinity. So Latino men are often associated with machismo. So machismo is kung sa Tagalog pa na term, kumbaga lalaking lalaki ka, parang ang parang connected nga siya dun sa traditionally role ng men sa isang pamilya is like a provider at wala siyang emotional kumbaga openness sa kanyang pamilya o kaartihan ganon, which can include positive traits like pride in family but also rigid gender roles. For example for that is a Latino father might embody strength as a provider but struggle with expressing vulnerability due to traditional expectations. So um, as we can see, race not only influence how masculinity is experienced, but also how it perceives by others. So let's proceed with the sexuality and masculinity. So now, let's talk about the role of sexuality in shaping masculinity. So queer men often challenge. So however, hegemonic masculinity, the societal ideal that prioritizes heterosexual dominant man, continues to marginalize queer masculinities. In response, queer communities have become spaces where alternative masculinities thrive. For example, is in these spaces, you'll see an acceptance of fluidity, where masculinity and femininity intersect in ways that celebrate diversities. So next, let's proceed to class and masculinities. So economic status also plays a critical role in shaping masculinities. So the first one is working class masculinity. These forms of masculinity is often tied to toughness, physical labor, and being the family provider. So for example, a construction worker may feel societal pressure to hide emotional vulnerability while embodying resilience. So and the second one is the middle upper class masculinity. In contrast, Middle and upperclassmen may emphasize intellectual achievements, professional success, and emotional restraints. So, for example, a corporate executive might see his masculinity as reflected in his leadership and control over his emotions. So, these examples show how class shapes not only what is valued in masculinity, but also how it's performed in different contexts. The next one is the disabilities and masculinity. So finally, let's discuss masculinity in the context of disability. So men with disabilities often face societal biases that question their ability to meet traditional masculine norms like physical strength or sexual virility. So, for example, a man using a wheelchair might redefine masculinity by emphasizing mental strength and adaptability. So, redefining masculinity for men with disabilities often involves prioritizing emotional resilience and breaking away from rigid stereotypes of physical dominance. So, for examples, um, a visual a visually impaired man leading advocacy efforts might demonstrate strength through his leadership and perseverance. So to conclude, intersectionality teaches us that masculinity is far from being one being dimensional. So instead, it is a dynamic interplay of identities shaped by race, class, sexuality, and ability. What it also teaches us, there is no one size fits all narrative for women's experiences. Recognizing these diverse experiences allows us to build inclusive communities, policies, and workplace that truly uplift all men and women. So, by understanding these diverse experiences, we can challenge societal biases and create spaces that honor all expressions of masculinity. Before I wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a question. So, the question is, how can we as individuals and communities fosters inclusive spaces that allow all men to express their masculinities authentic authentically. So thank you for your attention and I look forward to your thoughts and question during the discussion. And proceed to the next speaker. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Mr. Simbahan. If those who have concerns, please type in our chat box or raise your hand. And if you want to answer the question that's left with by Mr. Simbahon, you may do so. So for our next speaker and our final speaker, may I invite Miss Arian May Bersena, who will guide us through strategies for challenging gender norms. So let's give her a warm round of applause, please.
Ayan, so good. Hello everyone, my name is Arian May Arbarzena and we are going to discuss the last part of this seminar, the strategies for challenging gender norms. First is raise awareness. We have to take the initiative to educate ourselves about gender roles, stereotypes, and in their historical and cultural contexts because understanding it first and sharing knowledge with friends and colleagues will follow. Just like we are doing now, this seminar aims to raise awareness about gender roles and overall infos about masculinity in order to deeply understand men and empower women and everyone to achieve our goal, which is the gender equality. So we can also highlight and support the films, advertisement, and campaigns that challenge traditional gender stereotypes. Example of this is the movie The Filipino movie Die Beautiful last 2016. While it is primarily focused on the LGBTQ plus theme, this film questions traditional masculinity by showing the struggles of a transgender woman, which is the Paulo Ballesteros in a patriarchal society, and highlights how men who embrace femininity can still be powerful and respected. Another one is from Bar Boys last 2017. This film portrays male friendship, vulnerability, emotional depth, challenging the stereotype that men should only bond through macho activities. And also the commercial campaign of Dove Men Plus Care Real Strength campaign. It is focused on breaking the stereotype of men as solely providers, and this campaign also highlights the strength in showing care and being emotionally available, especially in fatherhood. So next slide, please. Yeah. So it is to redefine masculinity and femininity, and also to help promote emotional vulnerability or encouraging men to express emotions without shame. Also, we should celebrate the nonconformity, and we should normalize and celebrate those who defy these expectations, such as individuals who express themselves in ways that blend or reject traditional masculinity or femininity, just like Billy Porter from USA. He's a Tony and Emmy award-winning actor and LGBTQ plus advocate. He consistently challenged gender norms in fashion, famously wearing gowns on red carpets, and his bold choices have sparked conversations about what men should wear, redefining masculinity as a spectrum of expression. And lastly, next slide please. And lastly, empower the next generation. We can guide our next generation to avoid these gender norms by inclusive parenting and teaching and supporting the current youth movement, such as the Men Care Philippines, which trains young fathers to embrace caregiving roles and redefine masculinity as inclusive of compassion, love, and shared responsibilities at home. And also the Metro Manila Pride's Masculinity Conversations, which is a youth-led discussions and workshop about dismantling harmful aspects of masculinity, exploring emotional vulnerability, and supporting diversity in gender expressions. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that insightful and wonderful talk, Miss Arian Bersena. Now, at this juncture, may I award our certificate for our speakers for today. Can we flash it on screen, please? So as we are waiting for our tech team, let me read what's in the certificate. So, certificate of appreciation. So this certificate is presented to the name of speaker, which are Yvette Cuenca, John Kenneth Simbahon, and Arian May Borsena, for being the speaker in the recently concluded seminar with the title Psst, Sexy, Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women, conducted via Google Meet and facilitated by the Finals Group 2 class of GEE001B EMC 31S1 under the guidance of Mr. Nixon Palivino. Given this November 30th, Anno Domini 2024, signed by Mr. Bradley Tangin, the group leader. And now, may we have our photo opportunity, please, for everyone who's in this meeting. May I request you to open your cameras so that we have our community picture. Everyone. Now, is our tech team ready? Can someone please capture the screen? So on the count of three, one, two, three, smile. Another one, please. One, two, three, smile. Thank you so much, everyone, for opening your cameras. And now to wrap up, let us hear from Mr. Bradley Tangin for his appreciation and closing remarks. Thank you. Okay, wait, may we flash the certificate, please, before our closing remarks? So we're just having some technical difficulties here. So once again, thank you to Miss Yvette Cuenca for being our speaker, number one. For Mr. Kenneth for our speaker number two. And lastly, for Miss Arian Bersena for being our speaker number three for this seminar entitled Sexy, Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women. So now, may we proceed to the closing remarks given by Mr. Bradley Tangin.
So thank you all for joining us today for our seminar about navigating and redefining the male gaze on women. As we conclude our discussions, I hope you leave with not only a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding the male gaze, but only also have a renewed version of perspective to this challenge. The insights in our daily lives shared today remind us that we have the power to shape and to have a better society. And with this, we can advocate the authenticity and celebrate the diverse identities of women beyond societal expectations. With this, I once again thank you for all for attending this seminar.
Now, finally, let us sing our TIP fight song to close this memorable event. TIP. So while waiting, please answer our closing attendance form that will be sent in our chat box here. So your attendance is recorded. Malay nyo, may pa-raffle yan. As well as our feedback forms we have there. Kindly please answer it for the benefit of the group and the community. Thank you so much.
Lift up your heart and hold your head up high. We're gonna win, we're gonna fly. We're gonna reach our lofty dreams. We've got the strength, we've got the mind. We've got the grit and the determination. We've got the courage and the drive. We will exceed all expectations. We're gonna take them by surprise. We're on top of the world. TIP, we're the tip of the top of the world. We're on top of the world. TIP, we're the tip of the top of the world. Together we are invincible. United we are strong. We do our very best. On top is where we belong. We've got the grit and the determination. We've got the courage and the drive. We will exceed all expectations. We're gonna take them by surprise. We're on top of the world. TIP, we're the tip of the top of the world. We're on top of the world. TIP, we're the tip of the top of the world. TIP, TIP.
So that concludes our seminar, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our seminar entitled Sexy, Navigating and Redefining the Male Gaze on Women. So once again, this is Neil Charlie Balana. This has been your host. Thank you and goodbye.